At MedStory, we take privacy seriously and follow all healthcare privacy laws. Some details may have changed to protect confidentiality. The views expressed are solely of the individual speaking and do not represent the views of their employer.
It didn't sit right. Why? Because these patients, they are suffering. They are stuck. They are not lazy. Now, many people are going to argue with me, right? And I'm ready for the battle.
Welcome back to the MedStory podcast, a show where we share the stories of the greatest minds in science and medicine. I'm Spencer Locke, and on the show today, how Dr. Zahraa Sater used hypnotherapy to reshape how we treat obesity. This is going to be a good one. You've heard me say this before. The real challenge in building something great isn't always the product itself, but rather convincing people that it's valuable. For Dr. Zahraa Sater, a respected endocrinologist, the challenge was convincing the medical establishments to see beyond the surface of patient health. In the world of medicine she was trained in, obesity was often seen as a simple problem of calories in versus calories out. Doctors were taught to tell patients what to do, and if they failed, the patient was labeled as noncompliant. The ultimate professional dead end. This was a system valued for efficiency over empathy. But Dr. Sater saw a different path. She recognized that the physical problem was often rooted in emotional issues, and that the patient's noncompliance was really a symptom of something deeper, an unaddressed struggle. At the time, conventional medicine offered little to solve this, and a mind-body approach was often dismissed as unscientific. Today, Dr. Sater is known for founding Dr. Z Clinic, a private practice that combines traditional endocrinology with an unexpected twist, hypnotherapy. Now, this seemed cool, but she seemed unlikely to succeed. See, because a doctor trained at top institutes like the NIH was venturing into a field that was often seen on the fringes of medicine. So the question is where does this belief come from? In order to find this answer, I think we need to go back in time to understand her belief that medicine at its core is human interaction. This idea planted the seed for a completely new approach to healthcare, and that is where our story really begins. So, what a unique approach that you have started to develop here. But were you working in mainstream medicine before even starting this program?
So, if I want to tell you how the medicine part all started, it started actually when I was probably 5. I was just told that I have to become a doctor, just like my uncle, and I have to take over his clinic. And then just because my family is a high-achieving family, so you have to, it's not an option, it's an expectation to just get the grades, go to medical school. I moved from Lebanon, got a U.S. residency, and then went to the best endocrine programs in the state at the NIH. I practiced at Georgetown University, Walter Reed, at Washington Hospital Center, with top-notch leaders in the field. And there was one pattern across the board. Like, everywhere you go, you will have one problem. And it is the problem of, we call it non-compliance, but we don't document it like that. We say patients do not follow instructions, and then just document this in the chart. See you in 3 months. Refill of the meds. This is how it is, right? I remember one time I spent time with the patient, right? I'm still old school. Like, I still believe that medicine is all about human interaction. And there was a visiting attending, and he was like, "Why are you spending so much time in the rooms?" Like, I was yelled at. I was like, "Why are you spending so much time?" I'm like, this patient, her A1C is getting worse. I'm under training a poor fellow, right? Presenting the case. This patient's A1Cs keep getting worse. And he was like, she's non-compliant. And he gave me the code. This is the code. This is how doctors are being trained, all right? The code is Patients are two types. A person who is compliant, teach them, give them everything you got, everything A to Z. And there is the patients who don't follow instructions. Those are the non-compliant. Document. Patient doesn't follow instructions, refill, check the labs. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. This didn't sit right. It didn't sit right. Why? Because these patients, they are suffering. They are stuck. They are not lazy. Now, many people are gonna argue with me, right? And I'm ready for the battle. Discipline, willpower, no. These people are stuck. They don't like it where they are stuck at, and they need help. And the most graceful thing we do is to send them to psych. Like, why are you doing this? Send them to psych. They come back with 3 medications, one for anxiety, one for depression, and both of them increase your body weight. So at that same time, I was doing my master's in public health, and we had a course. It's like human behavior. We didn't learn this in medical school, right? Like, I had to do something extra to know that 90% of our decisions are subconscious. It is not us who's driving the Ferrari. It is another part of us, maybe stuck in age 8 or 9, or I don't know what age, right? And these people can't really sometimes overpower that strong thing, right? Not many people understand that, because it's not 100% of us who struggle with this fight between our logical mind and emotional mind, but some people really struggle. And the place they are stuck in a place that the temperature is not ambient. They are stuck in a place that decreases your lifespan by 8 to 10 years and destroys the quality of life. It is not an easy thing to just brush under the rug. We are talking about a place that makes people lose number of years and quality of life. We cannot just say, oh, a patient doesn't follow instructions, Happy New Year. Like, how? It didn't work. So I was like, okay, if most of our decisions are subconscious, why we are spending all this time looking to the conscious mind of people? But they know. I put 2 hands on fire. My patients know. They know. They can teach you about protein and carbohydrates and fiber and such. They know everything. It is not about the knowing. We spend a lot of time teaching people what they already know. How? The question was, and this was in 2020, 1920, like that. How do we hack? It was on my vision board. How do we hack the subconscious mind? And I started searching, and then I find this RTT, Rapid Transformational Therapy. It is one of the methods that used hypnotherapy it's very powerful. It's a combination of multiple therapies really in one therapy. And I was like, I'm going to learn that, right? Because why not? Because I can. It's COVID time. So I went there and I learned how to start to address people subconscious, not necessarily under trance state, but it can be how to communicate with their emotional mind, even when you're talking to them. We need the skill. They don't teach us this in medical. And then I was like, why? Let me create a program where I can give them the medicine, the nutrition, the personalized physical activity guidance, these are the guideline-based therapy for obesity and metabolic disease. And instead of doing the behavioral therapy, motivational interviewing, which is in the guidelines, why don't we do it hypnotherapy, where I can address them at a deeper level and give them a recording to listen to every night that repeat what they need to know subconsciously. And I go after what I have a list now because I have many stories, the mind blocks for weight reduction or for fat burning or for A1C correction. There are mind blocks and I fish for them and I address them with personalized recordings that the patient into every single night. Brainwashing I do. I mean, and I'm telling you, it is really rewarding. I would say this is why I do what I do, is when my patients come to me and be like, I am a new human being. Like, my life has changed completely. So this is the reward of just doing the thing that you think is right. Like, we're not fixing numbers here. We really need this patient to come back and be like, I didn't only lose my weight, I lost the version of me who put it on. And this is what I work for. I help people lose the version that made them become overweight, obese, diabetic, hypertensive, metabolic disease, cardiovascular.
I love this story so much. If someone's watching this, they're going to see that I was smiling as you're telling this story because I'm like, wow, she is really calling out all of the things that are wrong with the current system and what a radical approach of how to approach this. So I have a lot to uncover here, but I want to start with first, especially you as someone that's from Lebanon, but then is trained in the US. Do you feel that this problem is consistent across cultures, or does it seem like it may be worse in the US compared to other countries?
It is, see, I cannot say 100% because I did not practice endocrinology, diabetes, adult medicine in Lebanon. But I will make an assumption, and I cannot back it up by any data, that this is across humanity, right? And we have limiting beliefs, and these limiting beliefs will present themselves, if not in eating, in addictions to alcohol and drugs, in self-sabotage in the career, in destruction of relationships. And it's just life's health-related behavior is one of the symptoms. And it is just a presenting symptom of a problem that can be presented otherwise.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. So with this program, it is now a combination of you are utilizing some GLP-1 medications in combination with the hypnotherapy. Take me through the progression that a patient may go through with this program.
So initially, I go through the phase of discovering what we are dealing with, right? So I collect all the information about the patient, and I will kind of understand from the information I collect how many sessions of hypnotherapy this patient might need across I have special questionnaires that the patient can fill, and I get a sense of how deep is the problem we are dealing. And I do also hormonal, biochemical, full medical assessment as an endocrinologist with Obesity Board certified. So if I find that most of the problem, the root cause of it is biological. A patient has a thyroid disease, she took steroids, she developed Cushing's secondary to steroid intake. I have an explanation that makes sense biologically. And most likely this patient does not need very heavy emotional weightlifting. But if I find that, and it will show like those mind blocks, and I have 7 that I can talk about. If I start to see them happening, and they happen because I'm aware of the things that patients say that could indicate background stuff, then I would start with hypnotherapy immediately. Like, I'm not going to wait until you fail medication to start. I'm going to start hand in hand. Some patients, I'm gonna say, okay, I will need hypnotherapy to achieve maintenance. Okay, we can do it initially. You're gonna lose weight, but for us to achieve maintenance, I would need you to go through this mind training. Some patients will not respond to GLP-1 because they don't want to lose weight at a subconscious level. So they fade until we unlock what is it that your psyche is trying to protect here, then we can respond to GLP-1. So it all depends on, it's personalized very much.
I love this. This is awesome. So I do want to talk about, because you talked about the maintenance phase, which is one of the biggest things with the GLP-1. But before we go into it, I would love for you to teach me some of those mind blocks.
Yes. So the first thing that I look for is negative self-talk. And the negative self-talk and the negative body image comes down to the lack of self-love. And I will now tell you how the stories, how it works. So a patient will come to the office and they bully themselves in front of me. Oh, I'm stupid because they call themselves names, right? Or they are holding their body and be like, oh, here and there. They talk badly about it. It's like they are their bullies themselves. So I asked one of my and I do this to all my patients, that I start to detect this pattern of lack of connection. It's like you're bullying you. Be like, do you have dogs? And these patients are very loving, very caring. They take care of pets, dogs, Do you have a dog? They be like, most have dogs and they have couple and they take very good care of their dogs, and be like, how do you feel when you take care of your dog? Would you ever give your dog something that your dog is allergic to? And they'd be like, no, never. Like when you take your dog out and take care of your dog, how do you feel? And she would say, amazing. It's very nice. It's nice to take care of. And then I would give up a little pause, and then I will ask this patient, how do you feel when you take care of you, when you take care of yourself? Would you give yourself something that is not good? This wakes up 10% of people, if not more, to a reality that the only reason that they don't do what's right for them is that they love themselves less than they love that. And I don't anybody to put any effort for a positive outcome for something or someone they don't love. So many times, only this awareness can drive significant change. Because you can go to a person and tell them, listen, you need to do the inner work and do the deep stuff. They don't even have motivation to do anything for themselves. So what are you expecting them to do? This is one of the biggest things that if it is not fixed, no amount of GLP-1 is going to maintain the weight. The moment they stop the GLP-1, they are going back to the version of themselves that eat, and they go and eat complete food that they know is not good. They will stop exercising. They just hit the number to feel good about themselves, and then they go back. And if this is not fixed, it's very hard to maintain weight. It's very hard. I cannot see. It's impossible.
So give me an example. So say if someone's not sharing, so if you're identifying, wow, this person really doesn't love themselves, and this probably could be something that could be addressed with hypnotherapy. Could you maybe give me an example of a type of recording that you would send them that they can listen to over and over that would help fix this issue?
So the recordings are not generic. They are not one for all, because we are not treating anymore. So this is the thing that I do differently. I don't treat numbers, and I treat stories, right? And everybody comes with a different story. They learn somewhere. I'm writing a book, by the way. So every patient has a story where he learned, because we are not born to this planet not loving ourselves, right? There's a story where they learned that. The recording is going to be reframed for that story, to be the same for everyone. It's going to be very to that story that they have learned or unlearned.
Yes.
The third one is the all or none mindset. Some people are so perfectionist to the level that either I do it completely to the point. And for me, this is one of very common causes of relapse. If I am not following everything to the dot, I'm just going to drop everything. And this stems from lack of self-forgiveness. Either I do it all or I do nothing. Either it's perfect or we don't do anything. And then you have another limitation which I spend a lot of time in, is there's a very deep belief that the body that I want is not available for me. It's impossible. Nobody can achieve what they think is impossible. Nobody, right? It's our gene. My mom is like this, and my sister, and it runs in the family. And I've tried many times. There's no way. I have no. And I've failed so many times. I don't think that anything exists out there that's going to take me out of this. So when somebody have a belief that whatever they want is not available for them, they are not going to happen. Your mind's going to block it. And then there is a group of people who believe that I don't deserve. So I don't deserve to have a healthy body. It's like they're punishing themselves for their bad behavior, I eat bad and I went and I took a milkshake. And I don't deserve. I deserve the suffering. I deserve what I'm going through. And they don't know that they think this way. It's in the back of their minds running the show. It is self-punishment. And then the one that, oh my God, this one is people who have this traumas, they are not going to respond to GLP-1s, medications, surgery, nothing. It is when body fat has a protective. This means that they picked up at a very young age or maybe mid-age that if I am hidden with, I am safer. And these are the patients who unfortunately have physical boundary violations, have been invaded, physically molested. These patients are not, when they start to lose weight, they develop an anxiety. That's why, according to guidelines, we have to do psychological evaluation before bariatric surgery because the rate of suicide increased by 30% after weight loss of surgery. When you take away by force, when people feel helpless, I'm losing weight, I have no control over it. And you are taking away something protective, subconsciously protective. Like she had a story that if I am covered by my body, or a man if I am bigger, I'm stronger, or if I need to be bigger, was bullied for being skinny, or was bullied for being small, or whatever. It has a protective role. Nothing's gonna work. These people will sabotage their diet at the evening off. Like they will be doing well all day. At the evening off, they're gonna binge. The moment they start to lose weight, they're gonna stop. They're gonna stop the program. And I have multiple stories like. And
wow.
Yeah.
What's your mission with this?
My mission is not to make people live longer. I want to make people live longer and better. Because making people live longer through, okay, let me give you a blood pressure medicine to lower your blood pressure so that you can live longer. Let me give you insulin on top of a metformin, on top of a GLP-1 and a GIP. I just want to make your A1C good so that you live longer. I want people to live longer better and not need us anymore. Graduate from our care and allow nature to do its thing. And our medical system is not made to. They don't want people to graduate
at all.
So that's why I had to do it on my own, like invent a way to do it, right? But I love this. I love what I do.
And something that we haven't yet mentioned yet is that this is done all virtually. So you don't even have to physically be in the room with someone. But it does take a certain amount of time to probably unravel these stories and identify really what is that mind block that I need to be approaching through the hypnotherapy. So how much time are you typically spending with each patient?
So just to clarify, so that I started my clinic, I was physical. Patients would come, but I found that we can achieve the same result. Like the same results can be achieved physically or virtually. And it can be very convenient to have a virtual visit instead of coming every week in person to the clinic. Usually, my consultation is 1 hour. I do not set a time limit. I always leave a 30-minute after my new patient because I know that sometimes I will find things or I want to dig into things that cannot be covered in 1 hour. Sometimes it takes an hour and a half, my initial visit. And then the follow-ups are going to be easier. Why? Because I really extracted a lot in the first visit. And as trust is built, patients are going to come to me by themselves. I don't need to extract anymore. They're just going to come forward and be like, this is what I'm struggling with, and this is what happened, and I slipped. And they have a very safe place because I don't blame the patient, unlike everybody else. Why did you do this? I told you not to do it. I understand that it's not a blame game. You are at their team. You want to figure the things out together. Patients with time, like after the second or third visit, I don't need to spend a lot of time because they come forward with their problems. What we spend time in is investigate. It wastes a lot of time trying to extract the truth, because if the patient is full of shame and they don't have a safe place, they're not going to tell you the truth. They're going to lie. And you know they're lying. And you want to extract the truth without telling them that you're lying. And this is a waste of time and effort. The moment that the ground is safe, things are going to take less time with follow-up visit.
I'm so happy to see this kind of model being developed, because even with me in MedStory, one of the biggest driving factors of starting this podcast and starting the business is our current model is really good at driving up health anxiety. And so test after test, our anxiety levels increase as we're waiting for answers. And that waiting game is we need to find ways to shorten that gap so that we can start actually pushing them forward sooner on. And I imagine that initial consult to say, hey, let's talk about the emotional and psychological things that are contributing to this, approach it today, and then use that as a foundation to build on.
Yeah.
And so with this, what is your goal with it from the next 3 to 5 years?
I wish I have a magic wand, right? Where I can go abracadabra, wish him boo, and every doctor will start to implement questionnaires. It doesn't have to be mine. Just take any model that works and implement it in your practice. If I can teach this to other people, I think this is my next step. Like, my calling is, this is working for you, teach it, spread it. And I'm not a person who has audience and influencer, and I'm not present in social media. But I think this is the time where I am really gonna be there, because I really believe that you're helping these patients, but if you spread the message, you have the potential to help many others. And this is really what I want.
Oh, it's an incredible mission. And I am so going to be rooting for you on that, because I think the idea of giving our medical providers this additional skill set, which there's no way that they're learning in medical school, I can only imagine how powerful it's going to be for not only the providers, but the patients as well. So I so appreciate you sharing this story. It's really incredible. So if someone's listening to this and maybe a patient wants to learn about you, or maybe even another doctor just wants to see how you're doing things, what's the best way to find you?
Currently, the best way to find me is on my website. And they just can enter any question. We usually respond within 24 hours.
Tell me what the website is so that people know.
It is www.drzclinic.com.
Dr. Okay, awesome. We will make sure we will put that in the show notes as well. Oh, Dr. Sater, seriously, this is so cool. And I have a feeling this is going to be the first of many conversations that we're going to have about this, because I know that there's so much to dive into at a deeper level. But I know that anyone listening to this is going to get a ton of value. So thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me.
Thank you really for the opportunity. It is a pleasure to have talking to you shared up in my heart. And it was so chill and it was so cool, really.
Thanks for listening to the MedStory podcast, where we share the stories of the greatest minds in science and medicine. I'm your host, Spencer Locke, with a special thanks to our executive producer, Shina May. Our music comes from Blue Dot Sessions and the Descript Audio Library. The MedStory podcast is made possible by MedStory Studios and listeners like you. So if you'd like to support us, please leave a review. It means more than you know. And if you have a story to share or want to produce a podcast of your own, reach out to us at info@medstorymedia.com. We'll see you in the next episode.